Welcome to my continued series on the painting challenge where I'm trying to paint the most detailed painting that I've done yet. So this one has been a lot of fun so far, and I have a lot more detail to go. I kind of want to do this in stages. So I did the first bit, I kind of did some doodles with Sharpie, then filled it in, and then added some more doodles each day. And now I'm coloring in the whole background of the painting and want to make sure that all the white spots are covered with color. Then I'll do another whole kind of set and layer of doodles on top of that first layer of color. So I really want to make sure this one is very detailed with different colors and textures on top of each other, but as well, I want to have a lot of doodles that kind of link to other doodles in other parts of the painting. So I want to have smaller doodles on their own and also smaller doodles that connect together to make larger doodles, and those ones connect together to make a larger kind of like painting within the painting. So now I'm just going through and painting all these areas that don't have any color on them and just making sure that the whole painting is covered. I wanted to make sure I was adding some pink as well. I did a few aspects and details in pink before, but I want to make sure I'm adding it throughout the painting as some of the background colors. I'll be using some of these brighter colors on top of the darker ones when I'm doing the final details, but I wanted to make sure that I'm having some background colors, the bright ones as well, just to kind of mix it up a little bit so not every single background color is dark. I'll probably have about 80% of the background being darker colors, but I wanted just to have a bit of a difference. I find having that kind of 80-20 is a nice mix for the details and the bright colors to be able to pop out nicely. And I don't use pink a lot in my paintings, but I wanted to do that with this one. Because it'll be so detailed, I want to add kind of every color that I can and a bunch of different shades of colors as well. You'll see I'm using about 3 different types of red, and the browns I'm using 3 or 4 different types as well. It just makes it a little more fun to look at than if you have the same shade throughout the whole thing. So I'm just making sure that every part is painted. I like using orange as a background if I'm going to do a bright color. I find it's nice because the details on top of it and around it don't get washed away. So it's kind of a nice color and it goes well with the purple as well. I like the spacing of this painting so far, but it's hard to say how it's going to turn out because I know that I have so much detail to do. In a lot of my past paintings, this would have been close to being the end. I would have done the rest of the background and then done a few kind of textures on top, but that would be it. But with this one, I want this to be kind of just the end of that first kind of coat or first kind of base layer. So I want to be kind of experimenting with this one, and it might be way too busy at the end, but it might not, and kind of show me that I can make all my paintings a lot more detailed. Lately, I've been enjoying doing these more detailed and long paintings. I think it started when I was doing the oil paintings. Those took me a few weeks for each one. You have to be really patient, but I find it really satisfying when you finish up a painting that took you a long time. After this one, I'll probably do a few more smaller ones just because I have a few other ideas on stuff that I want to do. And those ones, depending on the level of detail, don't take that long. But yeah, I like how this one's looking. I think it's kind of cool. I think the color choices I've done well so far. And a lot of these next aspects and doodles within it aren't going to be planned. They're just going to be how I'll look at the painting and see what I can add to it and kind of see where the shapes naturally look like doodles, or kind of like when you look into clouds in the sky and you see shapes. I kind of do that with the paintings with how the paint dried. So we'll see how that looks. Now I'm going in and doing more doodles, but also a lot more lines. I find when I add the lining, it really looks crisp and you can see the difference of section to section. So when I do the lining, I go in and do extra doodles where it's needed. And it's just kind of a fun way to add more detail, kind of usually at the beginning of when I start painting for the day. And I have two different markers that I'm using, one that's thicker for lines and I do a lot of the details with, and a smaller one just so I don't wash away any of the details if the line is too thick. Now I'm going in with some white and adding some extra designs on top of the dark background. For this painting on the dark backgrounds, I'm going to add white, pink, yellow, and maybe some orange. And those are kind of cool colors that just look, they stand out really well on the background, as you can see here with this around the boat. And I'm going to do some lining as well in the white. I find if I don't do that, sometimes the details and the differences of the aspects that I'm doing kind of get washed away. So I'm going to try that with this painting. Because there's going to be so much going on with this one, this is a good opportunity to try different things that I've been wanting to do. But sometimes if I have a painting, I don't really want to try a new thing if it's a theme or something specific that I'm trying to do, but this is a good one to experiment with. I said in one of the previous videos that I thought the next one or the one after would be the final part, but I don't know if that's true now. I think this one's going to take a lot longer than I thought, and I really don't want to rush it. I don't want to do the thing that I sometimes did in the past with paintings where I'd get up to 80% done and just kind of rush it to finish it, and some of those extra details I didn't put in the time that I wanted to. So for this one, I really want to take the time, and that might take a few more days of painting, maybe longer, but I just want to make sure that I stick to the challenge that I gave myself and make it as detailed as I can. And yeah, each time I paint, kind of at the end of it and before each time, I take a step back and look at it and see where I can add extra doodles, or if I'm kind of stuck on where to put a certain color, I can step back and see that, oh, this part would look good with white details, or where I can kind of mesh these two doodles together and create something cool. So I do that, and sometimes it's more fresh the next day, and I see where I'll take little notes and take a photo of it and have notes that I want to add certain details. And other times it's just completely random. So yeah, I'm just going in, doing a lot of the white details and doodles on top of the dark background just to fill the space. And then I'll probably end up trying to see if I can kind of connect and attach some of these doodles to each other to naturally blend each part of the painting to the next one. In this stage of the painting, I have some of these little areas, like I have this little checkerboard pattern with the yellow and the black, and some of these little dark areas where it's not a background color, but it's a color within a doodle. And I want to add extra things into that. So I'm going in and kind of now treating each part of the painting and each doodle and aspect like its own painting. and putting in the kind of designs that I want. I'll probably end up putting a lot more in after, but like I said, I just really want to make sure there's no part of the painting that looks plain. I want it to all be the same level of intricacy throughout it. So with that little TV, I just probably want to put like 5 different colors in it. And in this little area of blue, I'm adding a little, kind of like a car or a van, and adding a little face here with the train. I'm gonna have eyes in the train cars and add the smile down there. I'm gonna have a lot of faces in this one. Sometimes I go through and I count the amount of faces, and a lot are hidden and small ones that you might not see until you're looking at the painting for the 10th time. But I find it's kind of a cool way to add a different kind of feel to the painting. Before, in my other paintings, I used to make them kind of creepy faces, but now I kind of like having the smiles. I find it a little more welcoming to look at. And some of them, even if they're smiling, do look creepy, but it's kind of interesting, just I guess depending on the mood, how the faces turn out to look. So now I'm going through and doing a few more lines and details just with this Sharpie. I'm looking at how the paint is drying and just doing some doodles around it and doing some lines in the areas that I already painted. And just finishing up this little part, and I'll probably wrap up this part here. I'll be posting the next part in a few days, and I'll probably keep the video duration to around 10 to 12 minutes. So yeah, thank you for watching this part, and I'll post the next one soon.